Christine. Well, I know for us personally in a practice, we know that because toxins age us, they impair our ability to heal. And therefore, not only are we much more susceptible to disease, our immune systems are weakened, but if we are not regularly detoxing, we are literally actively creating disease within our bodies. So let me say that again. If you are not detoxing, you are actively creating disease within your body. And after we go through the seminar, you'll understand why. Okay? And our bodies spend a tremendous amount of energy trying to get rid of the toxins that are in our food, our air, our water, and the products that we use every day. And so therefore, it's left with very little energy for us to do the things that we really want to do. If you feel sluggish, if you feel foggy-headed, if you don't have very good, if you feel sluggish, if you feel foggy-headed, if you don't have very good digestion, if you're bloated, if you're stressed, you're dragging yourself throughout the days, these are symptoms that your body is toxic. And a detox is just perfect for you. Actually, it's right for everybody. But think of all the things that you can be doing with your energy if your body didn't have to spend so much trying to get rid of this toxic waste.
Let me add something. Toxin, most energy that they take is a mental energy. Matter of fact, a lot of mental diseases is due to the toxins, such as schizophrenia and depression, bipolar. And even a normal, so-called normal people, most of us spend a lot of energy to detox. That energy could go to mental capacity, to entertain us, to enjoy our life, and that's why it's important to detox as well.
So we're going to move on to what is a toxin exactly. How do you recognize it? How do you know it's in your body? Later on, Dr. Masood is going to talk about very specific symptoms of toxicity directly related to foods and substances. Then we're going to watch, we're actually going to talk about a great 3-week detox done solely with food that you can do seasonally. And then we're going to see a video of 6 people that changed their lives dramatically just by changing their diet for 30 days. So what is a toxin? And I'm going to read you a definition that we feel is very accurate. So a toxin is any energy, object, substance, or living organism that damages our cells or body tissue, anything that interrupts our energy field or energy production, or interferes with our organ functions. Now, you have a handout with a list of toxins. What I'm reading to you here is in your handout. And there are hundreds and hundreds more toxins that we're not going to talk about here today. But the ones that we do talk about are probably the most obvious and the ones that are easiest to start eliminating out of your life. Now, we classify them into 4 categories: energy, objects, substances, and living organisms. So for energy, I'm just going to go through the tips and why they work, okay? So for energy, we like to recommend that you reduce the use of your computer, your cell phone, your microwave. And I know these are things that we're like, how do we live without them? But if you work in an office for 8 hours a day, and you're in front of a computer for 8 hours a day, try coming home to maybe less computer use. Try using your home phone instead of your cell phone so much. My favorite tip, this is something that I really live by and stick by, is remove all the electronics out of your sleeping area, out of your bedroom. It is really damaging to the balance of your energy when you have so much electromagnetic field, thank you, coming from so many electronics in our bedrooms. For objects, ingestion of foreign objects. So the tip is, don't ingest any foreign object.
Don't get shot.
Don't get shot. But, even less obvious are things like plastic and Teflon. Plastic and Teflon have been proven to leach carcinogens into our food that cause our estrogen levels to rise, causing breast cancer.
So the alternative would be wood and stainless steel.
Or glass.
Glasses would be actually perfect.
And non-Teflon cookware. So for substances, we're going to park here for a little bit because there are so many substances that are so toxic to our bodies, but we don't really consider them toxic. Things like gluten, refined sugars, chlorine, iodized salt. I would not consider iodized salt a toxic. And here are the easiest ways to eliminate some of these things out of your life. Eliminate the use of meat, dairy, alcohol, caffeine, refined sugars.
Okay, one thing I want to talk about iodine. The most common problem, especially in women, is hypothyroidism or thyroid problem. And deficiency of iodine is very common. The salt that we take is iodized, but is not really because it has all this chemical added to it, so we don't get the mineral and iodine. So that's why we have a Celtic sea salt over there. Chlorine, bromine, and fluorine. Bromine, you find it in the bread. Make sure don't buy the bread, it has bromine in it. Fluorine, and you find it in the toothpaste. Chlorine, every time you have a detergent that has chlorine and the gas comes in, guess what? It depletes iodine. So stay away from detergent that has iodine in it. And, chlorine, because that will deplete your thyroid. And this is one epidemic that it goes under the radar because shows many years it takes before it shows up. Okay? No.
One thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning is I want to encourage you to stick around. After we're done with the entire seminar, we have lunch right out here in the foyer, and we have set up stations, hands-on stations for you to experience some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. Raw foods and superfoods, non-toxin, detoxing, personal hygiene products, and supplements on this side. So please feel free to ask any more questions, learn about what it is that we have here today. One of the ones that I like to talk about that is not very many people know about is sodium lauryl sulfate. This is a foaming agent in our toothpaste, in our soaps, in our shampoos and detergents. And for some things they work fine, but when it's in your toothpaste, it is very toxic. You're putting it directly into your bloodstream via your mouth. So you might want to find some, I hear that Trader Joe's carries a good toothpaste that has no SLS.
SLS?
Yes, sodium lauryl sulfate. It's right in there. Replace your iodine with Celtic sea salt. Replace your refined sugars with agave nectar, stevia, xylitol. You can cook with these. You can do anything that you can do with regular sugar, you can do with these alternatives.
However, we discourage cooking, and you will find out in a minute.
And then choose personal products that are paraben-free. In your handouts, there is a whole list of alternative cleaning products that we recommend, and so that you don't have to use harsh chemicals like the chlorine and all of that. We also happen to find at Whole Foods the all-purpose natural cleaner.
Smells really good.
Smells really good, and it
is not toxic.
And it works fine. It doesn't leave a greasy residue or anything. The last category is living organisms. Viruses, bacteria, parasites, fungi, and worms. And we're going to talk much more in detail about this a little later on. But animal fat is the major carrier of viruses and bacteria. And you'll hear from Dr. Masood in a minute why it's so important to eliminate animal fat out of your diet.
One real quick, animal fat and animal protein in general, when they get killed, their immune system when they are alive fights about this bacteria and viruses. What happens when they get killed? There is no immune system.